Welcome everyone to a very, very special edition of Off Market. It is our final episode of the year and we are joined by an incredible live audience. If we can just take a look around. Give yourselves a round of applause.
We need that thing goes, applause.
A clap sign. We are joined by some of Perth's very best agents in the house today and some of our very best clients. So we just wanted to take this opportunity before we really kick the show off to thank you guys. It has been a crazy year. I think we can all attest to that. We're finishing on a bit of a high, which we will chat about, but we just want to thank you guys for all of your support and loyalty through the year. It's been really, really incredible. So it's a nice little way to start the show.
Yeah, wonderful.
And obviously joined by the Golden Gavel and Golden Gosnells over here, Shane Beaumont.
Golden Gavel, the Golden Gosnells.
And Ross Hunter, our ever-present panellists, here to give us the wrap-up of the year. Gents, excited?
Pumped, mate.
Feeling the pressure? You're surrounded by some pretty good reps out here.
How do you fit an apartment? There's so many big personalities.
Mate, it's true. It's a big lift, that's why. We've got them all in.
There's some pretty flash cars out the front too.
Yeah. I mean, it's
a lot of personal plates. A lot of personal plates,
a lot of Porsches and BMWs and Range Rovers.
That was just Ross rocking up. So on the apartment, we do need to say a huge thank you to Georgie Architects and Builders for allowing us to film here today. We're at 10 Bellevue in West Perth. It is simply incredible, I think. We've outdone ourselves, which has been a tough ask this year. We're going to take a little look around this apartment, so bear with us. Thoughts?
Well, the apartment's worth something, but that's priceless, Jess.
It is.
You know, that's what it's all
Never
about,
to be built out.
Never.
Isn't that what you would say?
Absolutely.
There you
absolutely.
go. I'm learning.
And the encouraging thing, Shane just spoke about the market voice. See, somebody said to me many, many years ago, if you ever want to see how the economy of this city is going, as you fly in, just look at the cranes on the skyline. They say it's the best litmus test of how an economy is going. And we sit here looking at, a couple of cranes there at Elizabeth Quay, and there's other cranes popping up around the city. So
there you go.
It all bodes well. The cranes are rising. It's like the Transformers are rising. You like that? Good.
Good. I do need to say also, of course, a quick thank you to our friends at Domain who've kept everyone caffeinated this morning with their beautiful coffee van out the front. Now, we are going to be looking into our crystal ball today, looking forward to 2021. But first of all, I want to jump straight into our first segment, Under the Hammer. For the guys in the audience who aren't sure, Under the Hammer is basically normally Ross talking about his auction results, but it's where we kind of do a bit of a wrap-up of some of the great auction results, any results we've seen. And since it's the end of the year, I want to know the best result we've seen for the year.
Well, Jess, before we move forward into the auction results, we talk about sort of, have Gavel will travel, the Golden Hammer and all the sort of the little anecdotes and so forth. So, Jess, I thought it was only appropriate that we end the show.
Oh, yes.
With the Golden Gavel. Yeah, baby.
That's what you use.
Hey?
Is that what you use?
I have used it before. Somebody made it for me. Would you like to...
Thank you so much.
You like that?
I like it. I feel like it's a bit of a danger in this house.
Well, I used to use it until one time I went to sell a property, hit my thumb, and I haven't used it since. I'll just put it up here. There we go. Look at that.
Perfect.
Okay, auction results.
Just your best for the year.
The best for the year would actually be an auction, oddly enough, about 2 weeks ago, in an area that's not normally an auction area, which we keep banging on in Perth. People say, what's an auction property? Every property is auctionable, just not every seller necessarily is. And this was a property in Inaloo, which is not an area that is traditionally auctioned. And it was run perfectly. And then we come the auction day, there was 120, maybe 130 people there. There was about 14 registered bidders, of which about 8 bid, and got an amazing price. And it just, I guess, it epitomised everything we talk about auctions, that competitive nature. Most properties we know they sell what we say is an emotional dollar value. Where we want to take an auction to is ultimately into a bit of ego money. but ultimately into that fear of loss. And we saw probably about, I don't know, on this property about $80,000. It wasn't about the value of the property anymore. It was about someone has to win. It was about fear of loss, and it just drove it to that point.
Beautiful.
And it was just, and also one of the reasons why I say that's the most successful auction, because it just sort of smashed a lot of barriers of what a lot of people think should be an auction and what shouldn't be an auction. And yes, there's some properties. Yeah, that's an auction property. A lot of people said this is not. So it just that's my play of the year for auctions. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyone out there in the audience want to share a fantastic result they've had recently or this year, their best result? I've got a couple here from clients that have sent in.
Let
Steph?
me say one while people are thinking. Steph, I know, has had a couple of cracking ones. But my thing I've noticed, not one result in particular, but for the first time, and I've been stung here by Alana with talking about negative equity, but
that was me, mate.
we've actually seen properties selling for more than what they did in 2014, and that is, like, for some time, owners didn't think they'd get back to that level, even though we knew we would. Yeah. So that's a great result. But one of them I saw recently was one in Cottesloe, which Duet actually had the auction, and we had a West Leadable specialist, obviously in Cottesloe, great agent, and actually inquired about that property. It was out of my league. They're talking mid to high twos as a reserve, 600 square metres, went under the hammer at 3.6. So that is a massive result. Was it 3.6? Was it
351?
351. Like, that's incredible.
Beautiful.
So some good confidence there.
I've got a couple of results here as well that have been sent in by some of the agents around Perth. So James Thompson, who isn't with us today, but he sold McDonald Street, Como, sight unseen to a cash buyer in Sydney after 3 days on market for 1.34. And then Travis Grogan, who sells out in the kind of outer suburbs, outer southeast kind of corridor, he listed a property online at 10:30, had 7 buyers through at 4:30 that same day. First buyer walked in and said, "I've got pre-approval for 4:30. Will they take it?" And it was on the market for 399. So out in that, he sells. What area is he?
Armidale way.
Yeah, southeast of Armidale. Pretty impressive.
I've got stuff all over Perth. So I get to see, people say Gosnells do a lot out there, but I've got literally all over Perth. So I get to see general market conditions right through. And for the first time, it's, in my opinion, a seller's market.
100%.
Are we excited out there in the
But
crowd?
do you agree that's not?
Everyone looks pretty pumped.
Yeah.
Steph, do you have any remarkable results you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, look, auction has been...
job.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, look, the auctions really have come back strongly, and you do need a seller who's willing to auction. The issue about getting cash offers early is fantastic, but I had the one in Cottesloe in September, which I really feel started to kick off confidence with auctions, and my seller was in his 80s, had owned the property for 60 years, and we got 3 offers beforehand, including a cracking offer, and he kept saying, I want it to be open and fair to everyone. And I think that that's one of the things that I love about auction, and that I'm converting buyers to understand. It's the transparency that they get when they know what other people are offering.
Wow.
So there's 2 points there that I think owners need to recognise. Price at the moment, to be honest, you're a great agent. The data means nothing at the moment. So you really need to choose the agent. And I know it sounds cliche, but the best process, best track record, the result will take care of itself, because anyone can print off the same shit. But actually, who's going to get the best result, who you want sitting on the other side of the table at the moment, is who you need to be choosing. The second thing is, when I see agents selling first day or sold in 24 hours, yes, 12 months ago, great result, because it's nearly impossible. But I think you need to go back and go, well, hang on, who didn't hear about that property? So whatever process it is, and we've got all these fancy things, it needs to be get in front of as many people in the shortest amount of time to get the best result. But when I see something going the first day, that concerns me, because if that day you're at school athletics carnival and you didn't see it, well, how do you know that person would have paid more?
And then that's the thing, what concerns me around that chain is we see it all the time. People are then crowing about it and advertising, sold within 24 hours. And if I was out there in the marketplace competing for a listing, I would use that as fodder to say, how do you know you've saturated the market? Is first price best price? No. Often it's not, and at the moment.
12 months ago, yes.
Yeah, but
not now.
I'm going to hold you there. Because 12 months ago we're going to go back.
Right.
We're going to go back.
I think we
can't get too
called
deep.
it pretty well a year ago,
deep.
mate. Yeah.
So Let's look at a year ago.
If you could wipe the slate of the last few years and take out the negative equity situation and say, how's the current market? You'd take it every day of the week. If you took out that hangover, that negative equity, but it's just that negative equity that is holding a lot of people back. If we didn't have the lag of that negative equity from a few years back, if it stayed like this, take the negative equity, and we've mentioned that before, and again, ask Brad, like you've seen that negative equity, the negative equity.
Obviously been in a seller versus seller market for some time where the sellers had to compete against themselves to capture the small buyer pool that's been there. I think we've seen a bit of a swing, more into a bit of a buyer versus buy market.
A lot of them weren't ready to buy, but I haven't had that situation in a long time where they're actually doing research mode, saying, Shane, look, we're first home buyers, can you help us speak to someone about getting set?
There's a lot of doomsday sayers out there, and I was saying, well, look, there's downside risk, there was, but I just, don't see it going down significantly. And sure enough, I think those doomsayers are going to be well and truly wrong. We're missing out because we're trying to get the buyers to understand the market is not what's in the paper. It's not this doomsday market. They're still thinking there's bargains, and that's come and gone very quickly. It's
panic selling and stock levels, supply and demand is what controls the industry. It's never been tighter since 2014.
The Commonwealth Bank has forecast a potential 32% house price crash by 2023 if the pandemic leads to prolonged downturn.
Everybody's guessing because the world has never had this.
10,300 properties on the market.
Yeah.
That's down. When we first started doing like this show, I think it was 16,000.
It's low.
The doom and gloom in the media saying the market's terrible. I hand on heart say it's the best conditions this market has, or the market's been in since 2014.
People in eastern states just searching for rental properties to come in. The mining companies are desperate for people. I mean, it's this perfect, once again, a perfect storm in a good way, just building up to really, I think, if you look at a slingshot to launch WA, I'm confident with everything that's going on. As Shane was saying, this could well be the best market in Australia. I know someone that put a property on the market on Saturday in Wembley, and she had 120 people through the open on Saturday.
I have not had one sale since the start of COVID where someone's gone, I've lost my job, something's happened, I've got to go.
Yep.
All of it has been, we actually just want to make a lifestyle change.
The press saying WA is the only, literally state, or island as we refer to ourselves, that isn't in recession is a pretty powerful message.
Bit of a wrap up of the year, guys. A little bit ahead of the curveball, would you say?
I think we nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we nailed it.
We mentioned negative equity the second half of the year.
Well, you did, but we cut it out.
But Jess, we talk about the market now. A lot of people have forgotten. They're saying, "Oh, look what's happened post-COVID, if you like," but COVID's obviously long from gone. But before, you think January, February this year, there was a whole heap of momentum in the market. And just when, the COVID hit, obviously, the walls went up and things stopped. But that momentum was already there. And then it just sort of was put on ice for a few months.
Woke everyone up, didn't it?
Yeah, it was there. And then obviously COVID's added a little bit of extra sort of zhuzh to the whole thing. But the momentum was there. It was happening. So, we just sort of picked up where they're
One thing I'll say, I don't know, are people seeing investors come back in yet? Like when did they start to come in? When did you start to see them?
I think they're just starting now.
Just starting now, that's what I'm saying. So we started to see it turn probably 3 months ago and the investors weren't there. Imagine what it's going to be like when they are back. Yeah. When this, obviously the situation with the rentals is over.
On rentals, let's just have a little look at what we said about rentals.
What's interesting with us is we're finding our top end rentals, they're going twice as quick as our average.
Brilliant,
and that's amazing for us. I've always found over my years that when the rental market takes off, you usually find the sales market will get dragged along with it.
So it is a bit of a perfect storm in some ways.
And rental vacancies, what did you say they are now? 1.8?
1.6.
Lowest since 2008.
Yeah. So all of a sudden there's confidence in that market, which is going to bring investors back in the market for the first time. They can see capital growth and they can see a decent return. And that's the first market the investors head into.
In reality, you need about 7,000 rental properties to be available in stock for supply to meet demand. We just went under 3,000. It means that we've still got critically low levels. So I think it means price increases and people desperate to get in.
So on the rental market, which you were just about to go into, Jamie, some pretty insightful comments from you on that episode. And obviously since then we've only seen it drop even further.
We're currently at 0.8%. And I think last time when I spoke about it, we talked about the fact that if you take out of the apartments, so when you look at that 2,600 we've currently got at the moment, which again is about 4,000 to 5,000 off equilibrium.
Yeah.
And I think March 29 is going to be the really interesting one, when we're allowed to put the prices up on those existing leases.
So we've seen all the news articles that are saying a 20% jump in March. What are you guys thinking out there?
I do think that for some markets it'll only do 10 to 20, and then I think you'll find your northern suburbs, your western, your coastal and your homes 30, 40. Like I think in this year we've done a price increase on houses from $340 per week already to $390, and that's based on only properties that are being advertised. So we probably will find in March you'll go a lot higher.
So do you think, obviously in June this year there was about 1,500 blocks sold. Last June there was 250, I think. Do you think when those people get into their homes it'll change?
No, if you actually look at construction figures, our construction figures will actually be less next year. A lot of people entered the market from Airbnb, so they couldn't. So they came in and filled up our stock. I do think when we're fully open, we're going to also lose more of that long-term stock back to Airbnb.
Yeah.
So I can't see supply increasing at all over the next year.
Wow. Yeah. And when do you think we'll be back to 2014 levels when it was price rental-wise? Do you think it will be this year?
I think we'll get up there probably this year.
Yeah.
By end of next year, we'll be there.
Wow.
It's good.
Yeah.
If not rental.
So my final question to you, because this segment is actually the real press, which is kind of where we are debunking what's being said in the media. Obviously, the media is kind of all about property at the moment now. First home buyers are coming in, they're talking about rental vacancy rates, which is stuff you guys have been saying and our guests have been saying for over a year now, and obviously take COVID out of that. But what do you see happening in the media now that's kind of at a difference to what you think is happening?
My concern is with the media, it's always boom or bust. So now they're going to say, there'll be people, remember when the rental market, you couldn't get anyone to a home open, and no one, and keep in mind, it's always a sort of sad story, but no one was saying, oh, how good's the rental conditions as a tenant? They're not going up. But now you're going to start to see the sob stories, which is really sad. I'm homeless, Now, in the meantime, you've got positions where there's all these grants coming in. The government are helping with LMI. There's all this product to get you into the market. 2% deposit, which is pretty easy these days when you think about what a bond is for a rental. Yeah. And the people that didn't get into the market in many circumstances, they're going to kick themselves because they just kept going, oh, rent's going down. So we're going to start to see some negative press about mean landlords. But the reality is, it's been very, very friendly to tenants for quite some time. Yeah, that's sad, but I think it's true.
And once again, though, Jess, we see the media when they come out, they're reporting on data that is so obsolete and irrelevant. They're making commentary around things that actually aren't on point. And that's the most frustrating thing.
3-month lag.
And they need to actually sort of sort that out and sort of work out what's happening today, because as we said just earlier on, the market's moving at such a voracious rate. What happened 2 weeks ago almost becomes irrelevant. And the media have got to sort of, in my opinion, get away from this whole thing. It's a bubble. This is not a bubble. This is a correction. And I keep saying to a lot of people, you go back to 2005 when the median average price of a house in Sydney to Perth was $5,000 more of a median average in 2005 than Sydney. 15 years later, it's half. You can't have a city like Perth lag at 50% to a place like Sydney. It just doesn't make sense. And there is that natural sort of catch up that has to happen. And we are at the beginning of that. And if people think this is a bubble and they're holding back saying, oh, it's going to crash, it's going to come back, it's not. It's not. This is where we're going.
With property management, how many people had the horror story for the person losing their jobs and what have you initially, and then got back on track? Was it general, everyone sort of got back to normality?
Did anyone have that?
Are we still seeing it now? No? That initial bit of panic? But nothing. Yeah.
I've got some stats here just to thanks to David James for providing these, but WA job vacancies are at a 9-year high with almost 20,000 positions on offer. Properties listed for sale below 10,000 for the first time since 2006, which we've spoken about, and lowest days on market also since 2006. So it's all, there's a lot. Again, it's that perfect storm.
The planets are lining up.
They're lining up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you guys excited? Finally? It's been a slog. So last year, guys, I'm going to wrap this up, but last year I asked you to predict the year and give it a grade out of A, B, C, D, and you both gave 2020 a B. What would you give it now looking back?
What, real estate wise or life?
Well, let's keep life out of it. Although you're an agent, so it's kind of hand in hand.
Yeah.
Life and real estate's probably about the same actually. No, I think if you at the start of the year, the child got pulled into the meeting with the principal, got smacked around, pulled their head in. So start of the year, I would say it's probably a B, C, but I think A at the moment. So
Big call. You can't go up from an A. A plus.
Well, it's interesting. Interesting. You said
Ducks of
like
the
being
class.
dragged into the school, into the principal, being getting detention. You did that pretty well, mate. So that was obviously something you're familiar with, isn't it?
yes.
Yeah.
I did maths in practice.
Roscoe?
Yeah, look, I know we called it a B in the beginning.
In practice.
Look, it stayed. Obviously, we had a game of two halves of the year. The market sort of went from B to Z in that COVID period. We've come out certainly. Yeah, we're an A for sure. Absolutely.
Beautiful. Would everyone here think it? What do you guys think? There's a few different. We talk about mini markets, obviously. So lots of people working in different markets in Perth.
Who thinks the property prices will be higher at the end of the year? Put your hand up.
End of next year?
This or next year, yeah.
Yeah, 2021.
Do you don't think?
Yep.
Anyone not? Who was not? Oh, that's
No.
good. That's positive.
That's positive. Expected price growth. Do you want to put a number on it? Double digit?
Double digit.
Double digit?
I'm saying 10% by this time, Christmas next year, it'll be another 10% from where we're at. I'm saying from where we're at today, Christmas 2022 from where we're at today, I'm going 30%.
I'll be
I reckon
pulling
we've
that.
seen 8 to 10 in the second half of this year.
Finally getting
Tash,
some
what do you reckon?
smiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop.
Can't do it both ways, can we?
No.
There's always something to complain about, isn't there? All right, guys, we're going to move to Under the Hood. Now, normally Under the Hood, we have a guest on the panel and Roscoe gets to ask his 6 questions. It's your show, it's your section. I'm taking it off you today.
I know, I worked that out. When I saw the run,
Sorry,
she said,
mate.
what have you done to me, mate?
Sorry, mate. I know.
We've
but
still got to ask our question.
well, we're not going to ask 30 people that question. You can do that after the show.
We will have a vote, Jess.
Have a vote.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
What I do want to know from you and from maybe some people in the audience, I've got some other questions. So they're not as fun as yours.
Yeah.
My first question for you, and Roscoe, this one's for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, we've talked a lot about the market, but we haven't mentioned COVID. We've been very lucky here in Perth that it hasn't affected us as badly as a lot of other cities and places around Australia.
Yeah.
However, there were some changes earlier this year. What has been the most significant change that you've made in your business this year, Ross?
I think it's just been adaptable and people sort of not being complacent about anything and making sure that we talk about process in everybody talks about process, be it sales, be it PM. I think what COVID did for us anyway is really drove home the need to really stick on point with all your processes in every respect. Yeah.
Okay.
No shortcuts.
I'm going to throw that one out to Mr. Hughes. You obviously run a big business. Have you got any comments on that? Any significant changes for you guys this year?
Other than marriage.
Yeah.
Sean Hughes from Real Mart Coastal.
Definitely process. I think, like Ross said, a lot of the guys got really sharp around it. Certainly being able to use DocuSign and things like that created some efficiencies for the team. The big thing I was saying to Ross before was a lot of the agents this year like to get away overseas and really recharge, and that didn't happen for a lot of the guys this year. And I think if they have holidays locally and they're connected to the phone, then they really don't mentally recharge. A lot of my guys at the moment are heading into Christmas exhausted, and it's been busy on top of that, so a lot of them are doing more than they were previously. So I think there's going to be a lot of tired agents next year, and I think managing energy is probably really important for us moving forward.
Absolutely.
Couldn't be more upset with that.
That's it, yeah.
There's not one person here. Every time I bump into someone, they go, geez, you look like you've had a big night.
Don't you hate that?
No, you're feeling good. Moisturiser on. Geez, what'd you do last night? So you got it 8 watching Netflix.
All right, my next question for you guys. What are you looking most forward to in 2021?
I don't know.
You're having a baby, Shane.
I'm having a baby, yeah. That's, some time off. Then I think, look, to be honest, it's been really sad that you've seen so many people do the right thing, invest into property, and at the end of the day, their mates have basically pissed away all their money, gone on the cruises and what have you, have been actually better off than the person that has sacrificed and put money into homes. And then you're going there and they're cutting a cheque for 80 to 100,000 at settlement. It's really sad because they've done all the right things. So to actually see that people that have stayed in the market, done the right things, and if you're not in the market, you can't pick when it's going to turn. You can clearly see no one has, when we were speaking, we got it almost right. But I think for those people to actually get rewarded for taking a punt, especially the people that bought during COVID, like they're going to do so well. They really are. So I think it's good to see some reward for effort.
Yeah, beautiful. Richard Self, I'd love to know what you're looking forward to in 2021. I think you work across a couple of different markets. You sell West Perth apartment market, but also a little bit in the western suburbs. So what are you looking forward to next year?
Next year I'm looking forward to the improved conditions even in the apartment space, even though it's been terrible. It's been Armageddon for the last 4 or 5 years. Just finally feel like we've bounced off the bottom, but there's still plenty of listings and plenty of work to be done, but we're not seeing huge increases or forecasting any huge increases for next year. So I'm just looking forward to a stable market next year.
Very nice, very nice. All right. Next question. Advice, you just touched on this kind of. Advice to first home buyers looking to get in the market this year, guys? General public.
Get your shit together.
Yeah.
Get your stuff, pre-approval. Actually, a good example, Michael Vazzati.
Michael, where are you, Mr. Forzati?
He actually had a situation, had multiple offers on a property recently. And I know the rental market, this has been happening for a while, where they've been writing letters saying we're a beautiful family and a couple of photos. But Michael had a cracking one where, can you explain the circumstances behind that cover note to the offer?
Yeah, sure. So I had a house with multiple offers, and there was 2 brothers who were very, very keen to buy, who decided to post a beautiful letter to the owner to attach to the actual contract itself. Had a photo of the 2 boys together. We love your home. Please sell it to us. It made no difference. They actually bought it, but they actually were the best price. So that's why they bought it. But it was an amazing experience. We haven't actually seen that for a long, long time. So owners are starting to wrestle control back from the buyers, that's for sure.
Beautiful. Any other stories like that around town? Not quite yet.
It's
Maybe
a bit in the
next
rental
year.
market, doesn't it?
Definitely in the rental market. Yeah.
Hope it happens more.
Yeah. All right, my final question for you guys today. One piece of advice for anyone thinking of selling next year.
Choose the agent over process over price.
Yeah.
Because, as I say, even the valuations at the moment, that lag, how quick it's moved, the valuations are way out at the moment. Choose the agent that you want to have the last conversation on the other side of that table at 8 o'clock at night. Yeah. Not just flicking a DocuSign, actually sitting there and batting for you. Yeah. Because price, to a degree, I hate to say it at the moment, some of the great agents here, we've all probably got it wrong this year. Because once on that street in June, forget about it. It means nothing now. So the best process will win every time.
So for the the general person who doesn't have anything to do with real estate and they've done their research on Rate My Agent or on realestate.com and they've looked at their numbers, and in terms of a process, how does a person know?
I think the answer around that, Jess, is making sure the agent you're talking to has got the courage and the conviction to get away from doing some sort of soft launch to try and harvest something out of a buyer pool they've got, is to have the courage to say, no, we're going to the market and we're going to have a process and hold the line, and we're going to let people sort of compete against each other in whatever process you choose. To actually get you, the seller, the best possible price. Because remember, as an industry, our mandate is to work for the seller, and to a lot of degree, I think that gets forgotten sometimes. It's about getting a sale. This isn't about sale. This is now about process and having the guts to hold the line to actually achieve the best possible result. Because we haven't seen a better situation than we do at the moment for that.
Anything to add from anyone out there? Nods? Just that?
What do you think?
There you go, Lindsay.
I kind of agree with what I'm going to say.
I
agree. No, it's not taking the first offer. I'm having a lot of examples like that where people are throwing above asking price offers before even seeing the house of the fear of missing out. I had one last week, launched it Thursday. Thursday night I had 20 grand above the asking price. I said, nah, mate, we were waiting for the home open and just pushing that home open. 40 groups through the home open, and ended up getting 80, 90 grand above the asking price. So if you can hold off, then get to that first home
open. And that's
open,
about
please.
that courage to say, it's everybody can say yes, but it's having the courage to say no. Even in that example, it's a process over a few days, but how many people would have caved in and gone, yeah, no worries, 20 grand over, let's roll with it.
Correct. And the seller was busting at me to get it, to take it, just enough. You're running a risk. I said, no, we're not. Because we've had so many inquiries, people want to come through.
Yeah.
We can just play one off the other, get everyone once. And the fear of adding that fear of missing out factor to the buyers at the home open is then starting to scare people to go higher. And then when they miss out on it, they go to the next property. They don't want to miss out again, so they go higher again.
Yeah.
That's what you've been saying, bro.
Yeah, I think also it's sad for agents just starting out, but the fact you can say to an owner, look guys, I've got 20, 30 settlements happening. I'm not going to tell you to take the first offer. There's some agents out there that haven't sold a property in smaller markets, maybe for 2 or 3 months. They get a cash offer. Most of them should no commission or no wage, what have you. If there's more out there, I'm prepared to wait. I don't need this sale right now. What I need for you to feel is there's nothing left on the table. And unfortunately, in times where people haven't been selling 1 or 2 a month, we all hear about that desperate sale and they got referred because they know them. And sometimes the owners lose. The agent can sell it, it moves on. And also with that, a lot of situations we're seeing now with owners is actually setting a fee, but if we get X amount, because it's so competitive for fees at the moment because lack of stock, actually saying, look, if we get this much, you're happy, we're happy, putting that incentive there. But I don't think any agent here would hand on heart say that you go harder to get a bigger price because you get a bit more. But as an owner, that's what they sometimes think.
That's what they think.
Yeah. The best agents will get a good result because they'll tell 30 other people. If you do a shit job, they'll tell 150 people.
Yeah, true.
All right, guys. That was excellent. Thank you very much. On to our final segment. Now, this is our play of the week. This segment is normally where the guys say something funny that's happened or something, we've seen an agent on social media doing something that's a bit of fun. So this is going to be play of the year, guys, and I'd like to hear from you what your play of the year is. Anything you've muffed up, anything anything you've seen around town.
Outside of me being bagged out by Shane via Sean Hughes over an auction property where I got the address wrong as I was standing out the front calling it.
Well,
but that's okay. Mate, we'll sell anything, won't we?
I've got that on one of your blooper reels.
Actually, I've thought about this question, Jess, and unlike me, it's a bit more of a serious tone on this. It's more play of the year, and I actually think it's to everybody here and a lot of people in the industry is how a lot of people have adapted and they've done the right thing, and there's a lot of people in this room that've got new business. They started new businesses really as COVID hit, which was just wonderful. And how a lot of those businesses have flourished.
Yep.
COVID's seen 2 things. It's had this polarising effect where people have either gone that way or that way. And a lot of that's got to do with mindset and people that believed not believing in the market, just believed in themselves to do the job and the best that they can do. And I think as you've seen a lot of people flourish, not only our industry, but a lot of other industries, it's because of that person and their belief in themselves and what they do. And they deserve everything they're getting because, and I think that's the wonderful thing that COVID's done has proven that, you know what, it still comes down to the person in the mirror. That's where the first place you need to look. And I think a lot of people here have, and I think good on them.
I'll tell you one stuffer, right? And there's a property.
Shane will bring it back down.
There's a property that will sell this year, okay? And I'll name the suburb. It's in Applecross. Now, I was referred into it, and I'll give you a bit of background. I was on the way there, and a taxi did a U-turn into my car. Not the car should matter too much. It was in my car.
It hit your car?
Hit my car, so I had to change cars, and it was the most banged up 1927 Corolla you've ever seen. So I've pulled up to this multi-million-dollar property in this banged up car. The guy was at the front. Had
I
the
hope
most
you didn't park in the
amazing.
driveway,
I didn't.
Shane.
Well, I drive up the street. Most amazing car collection you've ever seen. So I've pulled up there, walked around the home, pointed out the things. He said, "So what do you think price-wise?" And I said, "Look, you can get around the mid-4s. I think you've done really well." He goes, No. The house and the land. I said, "Yeah, mid-4s." He goes, "Do you know what the effing hell this build cost?" And I said, "About 3.2. He goes, "Yep." "Do you know what the build cost?" "About 2.5. "So why the effing hell would I sell for?" I said, "With all due respect, that's what I think the property's going to get in the market. It's not replacement costs. Keep in mind what I've rocked up in." And he said, "You are so effing out your depth. And the property has been out on the market since 2011. It will sell this year for what I said. Guaranteed." So I can't wait to actually send him a thank you, Gary.
In the Corolla.
In the Corolla. It was incredible. Literally like $2 million worth of car, and I'm just... Yeah, so we'll see it sell. I'll mention it on our episode when it does sell.
All right, guys, anyone out there want to throw anyone under the bus or nominate themselves for our play of the year? Come on. Crickets.
This is your moment, guys.
Crickets. No? No. All right. That's beautiful. No worries. That is our show for today, guys. Thank you very, very much for joining us, for enjoying breakfast with us. I do want to thank once again the team at Georgie Architects and Builders for allowing us to film in this incredible apartment. If you are interested and you have a spare few mil to throw around, you can contact Tom House at House Business, and he'll have a chat to you. Another big thank you to Domain, who organised our coffee cart out the front this morning. Personally, I would like to thank you two for an incredible year.
Thank you, Jess.
I learned so much from you guys about the industry, and we have so much fun every week. So thank you very much. The crew at Crib, Chris behind our camera here, Alana at the back, who just do an amazing job getting us here each week.
Thank you to Alana too, because she obviously invests a lot of time and money and resource into this.
Yeah.
And I think for an industry giving back, it's nice to see. So thank you, Alana.
Thank you,
and once more, a big thank you to all of our clients in the room and outside of it who got us through this crazy year. And we are absolutely champing at the bit for a huge 2021.
Bring it on.
So here's to a big year. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And we'll see you all in 2021.
Done.
Thank you.
Done.
That's a wrap.